Ultimately, I think it's a breakup song. It just kind of tells the story of, yeah, you used to be, I guess, in a like special, intimate relationship with that. So you're gonna keep coming back to that same person, even though, you know, it didn't work out.
That's what love will do, you know? I don't think we're ever too sure when it's time to call an end to something. Maybe you never really know.
I think, you know, even if your partner didn't break up with you, you probably understand that feeling of if they did, like I would find a way to make it work. To say that you would go crawling back to someone or even to like go back to someone after they have rejected you is a very vulnerable thing to do.
You may not be actually crawling back. Crawling implies that it's like, you know, just some desperation there, right? It could just be walking back in some instances, sauntering back. Sauntering slower than walking. What's the slowest thing you can do? Crawl, roll, flip, cartwheel. I keep cartwheeling back to. We have to change something.
We'll see about. There might be a couple bum notes.
Why didn't I think of that? Stupid. God damn.
The beginning is like, I spend a lot of time thinking about if I was to see it in a movie, or if I was to visualize it for a music video, or even just if I was to close my eyes or if I was reading a book, I'd be able to see what it looked like in my head. So I thought the idea of you're walking through an old neighborhood, and I think of my first house back in Ottawa, like my parents' house. Every once in a while, I've driven past there and I'm transported back into this time where all the issues that I currently, or not really issues, but you know, just the everyday woes that come up, or all the responsibilities that you currently have kind of float away because the time that you're putting yourself back into, none of those things existed. So I thought it was a cool idea of you going back to, you know, your old neighborhood and retracing the steps that you had when you were a kid in a time before you met this person who was kind of causing you all this emotional trouble, and just being able to relive a time that existed before them that you were able to kind of get a tangible hold on.
What about the pain is true? Oh, the pain is true.
Yeah.
We think of it's nothing new.
Like I always.
There's nothing new.
Or like,
The last
you know,
one
it's
could be
nothing new. Or
nothing new. Like I always do, you know, the pain is true. The pain is true. Oh, it's nothing new. That is fucking sweet. I really
The
like
pain's
that.
true, but it's nothing new.
Oh, just say, oh, it's nothing new. Oh, it's nothing new.
Alright.
Okay.
See you on the other side, guys.
Godspeed.
See you, dude.
I'm pretty sure it was the first song that we wrote during the pandemic. Like we got pulled off the road. You know, we thought we were gonna be home for like 2 weeks. So I went over to Cam's and he had this idea in Logic, like this really cool bass part.
That bass part basically disappeared and turned into kind of a guitar part. And it went through tons of different phases, but I guess it started from this bass part that turned into a chorus part that then turned into a verse part.
We pretty much left the song there. We couldn't really come up with anything else. When we ended up taking it to Brett like a year and a half later, what are now the pre-chorus and the verses were virtually unchanged. And we just reframed the chorus.
I had this chorus idea, and the whole chorus it wasn't like there was not really any repetition. It was kind of like one story that got repeated every chorus.
So do you remember what the original chorus was?
Yeah, I was like, I chase my steps through my old, or it was like I trace my steps actually through my old neighborhood so I can remember a time before you. I miss the days that I would chase something that wouldn't throw me away. And I don't think I need you now, but then I hear you saying you miss me, just leave me be in my newfound space, cause I don't need you crawling back to me. That was the one. That was it.
And then
It was also the other way around. It was like, cause I don't need you crawling back to me. But we just took almost the opposite angle, where it was like, I'll come crawling back to you no matter what. Which I think is, I don't know, it just felt honest, and it felt, I don't know, it just felt a little more, maybe wholesome is the wrong word, but it's something that just liked more. Like, I like the kind of person who would sing that song a little bit more. Like it wasn't so like feel sorry for me.
I come crawling back to you, so you don't have to. And then like backups here. I don't know what I would do, but I'm thinking there'd be like backups. Like, back to you. Maybe can we leave that part blank for now, and then we can put the.
We played some shows where it was. I know that no one had ever heard the song because we had never played it before. It's not released. And we had tons of people singing it back. And I know they've never heard it before. And it was just a really cool experience hearing your song back sung to you when I know no one knew it.
So you don't have to. You keep calling back to me. You don't have to. I come crawling back to you. Everybody, let's go. I come crawling back to you. Yes. So you don't have to. I come crawling back to you. So you don't have to, baby. I come crawling back to you.
Yeah, we play the first chord and no one knows what's coming up. So that was a cool experience. And we've been able to do that almost every time, unless the crowd hates us, but when they don't, it's pretty good.
I remember thinking, like, we did the pre-productions, like, yeah, we'll just play it. We know how the song goes. It's really simple. And I remember being like the one guy who was saying, I think it's going to be way harder to put together. Everyone was like, nah, it's going to be like pretty easy.
Isn't like crawling pretty straightforward?
Oh, that's what we need.
Pretty easy.
And when we took it to studio, we played that song, Niall said 80 times.
Oh my God, yeah. We tried to start off each song by getting a really good scratch track. We're all in the control or the recording booths, whatever. And we tried to get a full run through of the song that was not perfect, but pretty much perfect. And that had the right energy, that had just like, it felt right for whatever reason.
I remember being so frustrated because like we would get sidetracked with stuff and it's very natural and like you got to expect to get sidetracked with that stuff.
I think we should not do the push going to the second chorus.
You just said it sounds good where it is.
Let's do that again.
Going to chorus one, yeah.
Yeah.
Should I do those shots like the first time in the first chorus?
Oh yeah, we weren't doing the pushes in the chorus.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's ironic that sometimes the songs that take the longest to figure out are kind of the most straightforward.
We wanted it one way, and now we might want it the other way. And we just did, it was a lot of experimenting as well because, like I said, we had written the songs not long before we went in to actually record them. So there was a bit of, and there usually is a discovery process, at least for us in the studio, which is fun. I like it. But yeah, it took forever to get take one.
Can we try that, guys?
Okay, then maybe we should decide which one we're gonna try then. This time let's try that build.
I think it's a testament to Brett and the type of producer he is and how motivating he is and how hard we wanted to work for him. Like he's in there, he's working, he didn't take a break. So I think aside from going pee, no one left the room. And we played it 80 times, like it's like 4 hours of playing the song. And that doesn't include like time in between just like debating what we were gonna do.
It's very easy for when you are working on a song for that long, for things to get just like really disoriented or way too busy. And I like that we were all able to still focus. You know, we didn't deteriorate, you know, during the third or fourth, fifth hour.
Yeah, I remember there was a moment where I was kind of like, I'm not gonna freak out, but I'm ready to go. Ready to go.
During that time, I did get very frustrated, but it was worth it. It was very worth it.
stars. I come crawling back to you, so you don't have to.
There's this one melody line that I was just obsessed with, like that. I just always played it all the time on guitar, and I would sing it all the time. And I told Will, I was like, I'm gonna use this melody in the song. And I remember I sent him the song months later, and he was like, oh, you used the melody.
And it's in the final. What was that? I don't know.
No, it's not in the final, actually. No, it's not. Damn it. Didn't make it. New song.